Oops.
Uh-oh. It's all good. As long as the phone fails and not you,
You're right. Exactly. Now, what did I do?
turn the camera off.
There we go. All right. So we're live. So let me say welcome to our latest edition of TNT. Boom.
Boom.
With the great Michael Lamel, I am Pastor Joe, and we are super excited about being with you guys tonight. Missed you guys last week
Man.
as I was doing a little celebrating of my 10th wedding anniversary to my lovely wife.
Good
And
stuff.
yeah, milestone, a little bit of a milestone. Um, but we're back and
Yes,
excited,
man.
back and better than ever. I hope.
Yeah, man. We are back. I'm glad that you're here. I didn't know if you um seen a little bit of last week, but I made it uh unpublished or what is the word that's up there?
Oh, it's not public.
Right.
Okay.
Because of some of the stuff I was talking about and saying it's not legal advice, but I was sharing. I told everybody to have their pen and paper and get
Right.
so they can see. And so um, tonight I can go over a few more. I want to go over a few more things, but I was saying as a way to hear that or to glean that, then you got to tap in with me or you, and then we can send them the link. So you
Okay.
have to be a part of it, right?
Yep.
And then we can start developing what this other platform would be like for Patreon and stuff like that, like we were
Right.
talking early on. So yeah,
Right.
that's
Yes,
right.
sir.
Yeah, yeah. So you were talking
Absolutely.
about Jonathan McReynolds, who I've yet to see in concert or to meet. We have some mutual friends, so talked about him a few times, but I don't know him personally. Deaconess Ramona B is in the building, and so yeah, I don't know him personally. I heard
Yep.
he was a swell guy,
Yep.
very humble, very nice to be around. But he has a song called Cycles, and I've been listening to it basically on repeat today.
Yep.
Cycles, cycles. It's something about that opening. Woo, when it
Yep.
just kind of it's so ethereal. It's ethereal, and then Doe comes in, singing that part.
She's a killer. She's a killer too.
And it was a sneak attack, but it was you know, it was like the seven vagabond sons of Sceva, where his spirit leaped on them, overcame them, and then prevailed against them, and then sent them running. Like all those things, I was apprehended and constrained by that song. That's all I
Love
can
it. I love
say.
it.
Man,
Yeah, I've also never met McReynolds. I guess I would say he's Kojic or formerly Kojic, grew up in the
right.
Church of God in Christ.
Mhm.
And again, it's big and small. So, 1 degree, 2 degrees of separation away. But been a big fan of his music since he came out. I
Yes.
uh I saw an interview with him and Isaac Curry on Isaac Curry's podcast. And
Okay. I didn't
I
see that
love
one.
I love listening to I love listening to musicians because we're both musicians, we're both artists.
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah.
about other musicians the way
Yes.
that we talk about them.
Hmm.
And
Respectfully and honorably.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's
Yep.
like
Yeah.
everybody probably he McReynolds has a lot of fans. He's very popular,
True indeed.
but he's kind of like he's um grown into the ilk of your favorite musician's favorite musician. He's
Yes.
one of those guys. Like, um, not that average ears can't appreciate that, but like how you just talked about that opening riff, like it's
Yeah.
just he's different. He's different. He's special, but he's different special. It ain't just normal. He's a different guy. Anyway,
It's
so
really that, bro. Like
yeah.
for
Yeah,
real.
so Mike was telling me about the song, and again, I am a fan, so I gotta say this because I'm gonna give us a little critique. So he was telling me about this song, and I actually um I don't want to say it was a critique, but I was talking to our church about oftentimes how we give the enemy way more credit than we should. And I
Mm,
referenced the song Cycles
mm,
because in it he has this line that a lot of people really talk about, and it's he's the devil, right? He sings about the devil, right? And I think that like as people, um, we have to pay attention to what we're giving the devil credit for, right? And in the song, I'm trying to
mm-hmm.
remember the lyric, but maybe you can help me out. But he talks about how the devil um learns from our mistakes. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then boom, boom, boom. And part of my critique was while that may or may not be true, right? The
Mm,
problem is not the devil though. The problem is we didn't learn from the mistake that we made. And that's why
mm,
we're going in cycles. Because typically it's not that
mm,
he figured out what your weakness was, right? And then brought it back to you. That's not really why we're in cycles. Most of us are in cycles because we didn't learn the lesson the first time. And now he's not going to take it easy on us, but we're usually our own issue. So that was what I was kind of saying,
yeah,
But no, I have no qualms, no issues. I think it's a great song. He's a great writer, great singer,
yeah,
great musician.
yeah.
See,
I think we do give, as some preachers I've heard say, credit to the enemy more than we ought,
yeah,
when in fact we have we lack self discipline, self awareness, and man, today I had a great conversation not too long ago about how we how many times do we have to crucify the Savior? And I would always reference Vic's song,
yep,
30 Pieces of Silver,
yep,
but we were talking about it and how um, we're demanding laterally for each other in our human space to prove our love over and over. We
right,
demand that of our loved ones and people we profess to love and care about. We call for their proving of their love, and we also do it to the Most High.
exactly,
So I was challenging or just supposing that I was petitioning them really to just analyze, like look at this just for a moment. And it's a married couple. They preachers, but we're just having a wonderful conversation. And I said, do you have to? How many times does your husband have to prove his love to you?
right,
Because you say and profess that you know that he does.
right,
So you either know it or you believe that he does.
right,
And it's very simple. So we profess to know uh, that the Most High loves us and protects us, cares for us, will keep us. But then we fall into this thing of Him having to prove it.
yeah,
And I want to be, is what I was sharing with them. I want to be intentional always about being steadfast because of His ableness. I don't have to see it, know it. Because He's able to do it and has done it, got
and has
receipts
done
on it,
it.
then I know. And if I never see it, and if he doesn't do it, the fact that he's able to do it is enough. I
Is
want
it
to be that to suffice for me.
right?
So
Yep,
I don't know how to tell other people to get it, but I need that for me to be sufficient enough so
right,
that I won't have worry, I won't have anxiety, I won't have strife and contention. I'll be able to kind of have smooth sailing, if you will,
right,
because I know.
right.
For
Yep.
we know,
For we know.
and we know. It's so many scriptures that just go into it about
Yep.
Him. So
Yep. Exactly.
yeah, yeah. We
Just
gotta have a degree of self awareness
right.
and know something about ourselves. We have to know ourselves.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I literally just read that story narrative yesterday, about the three Hebrew boys being thrown in the fire.
Mm.
And church I used to play for, um, the preacher preached from that text, and her text was even if, and I mean her subject was even if, and it's an amazing story what happened to them, but
Mm.
I think just like you said, we kind of sometimes don't put on the same level their level of faith and confidence and assuredness going into it,
Yeah.
fully fully cognizant that there was a strong possibility that that was the end for them, and ready to deal with it. And even if God would have say failed them, right? If you would say that, he still had the ability to deliver them, and they were fine with that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy.
Can I lend another example?
Yeah,
So we have that as a reference, but then we also have Stephen,
yeah, right. Yeah,
who was willing and went all the way to the end,
right,
still keeping faith and keeping his eyes on the knowing part, keeping his
right,
mind settled on the knowing.
right.
Man,
Yeah,
up to and including death.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's crazy.
I mean, because we park, we kind of get to the three Hebrew boys and park a lot of times, which
Right,
is great. But I just wanted to, for context, say it's not always there.
right,
You know, I've said this before on TNT. Deliverance can only happen when you're in confined in something, constrained or bound
right,
in a situation. Then deliverance or breakthrough can happen in that moment.
right,
Nobody wants the breakthrough, but everybody wants the blessing. I
right.
mean, nobody
Exactly.
wants the bondage, but they want the
Right,
breakthrough.
right.
They want the
Yeah,
blessing of breakthrough, but
right.
not the bondage and the constraints. And we have to maintain that level of surety
Yep,
in him when we are bound, when we are
yep.
facing the fiery furnace, when we are facing being stoned, when we are facing uh being under arrest or under duress. We need to still have the same temperature gauge. Our gauge needs to be the same, and
Right,
say, hey, for God I live and for God I die.
right. Yep, yep.
Yeah, I think
Very,
that's
very,
important.
very interesting. What it
um
do? What it?
yeah, people are saying thoughts on blacks for Trump. Well, this isn't that really that forum, but we do talk about anything. uh so I would say this, and I have a kind of a different viewed, a different scope. Some would say skewed, but and interesting enough, this being Bible study about looking on the outward and then looking on the inner of a thing or a man or what have you. And some of the character traits of this president I don't care for. Uh, uh, Most of them actually, of his character traits, of his personality, things like that. What I will say that I glean from, and um, I'm not for him. So your question specifically is blacks for Trump. Um, but I don't know if you should ask me because I'm the guy that wasn't for Obama. So there you have that, and I'm ready for the conversations and the smoke for that. I'm that guy, right?
Right,
So again, speaking of character, because that president, signed some things into law that not a fan of.
right,
This particular one, I find it interesting. I use this reference all the time, and again, I want to be very clear. I'm not for him. The system, I'm not. It's not really for the system itself, but this person filed bankruptcy and then opens two hotels and bought some other property almost immediately after filing bankruptcy. What is the lesson? That's what I'm asking to the forum, to you, Pastor, to everyone. I ask myself, what is the lesson in this thing? If all things are truly working together for good,
mm-hmm.
what is the good in this? And I'm looking at it, I'm trying to have a specific lens to see that I need to learn from this.
You're right, sir. You're so right. God knows. You're right.
So uh, we are to be lenders and not borrowers, and we have these things like in Deuteronomy 28. Is different examples in the Bible about giving. Second Corinthians 9 and 7, uh, and living in the space that the Most High designed for us and intended for us. But we are not, because the system that we currently are in is intentional about keeping us out of it.
Yep.
So then we must use wisdom, Proverbs 4 and 7, and be intentional about that, mindful of it, and navigate all these things with wisdom. So, in that regard, I think he's an excellent example of what we can do, what we cannot do. And it's nothing with emotions. You got to have emotions out of it. Be objective and say, hey, how can I be under attack from these entities, these three-letter entities, IRS, et cetera, and not have to succumb to their advances?
Right.
How can
Yep.
I be impervious to their advances?
Yep.
And he's giving you the game, showing it to you all the time. So that's what I say about your president.
Man, I love that answer, and I guess there's a shoot. I have a kind of a layered answer,
Hmm.
probably because I'm in reading the book of Daniel right now, like I just referenced, and of course, one of the main subjects of the book, besides Daniel, is King Nebuchadnezzar,
Yes.
and Daniel is the book that gives us, or one of the books that gives us, um, the theological concept, if you will, that God sets up kings, kingdoms, and people in authority,
Mm.
even those that we would consider evil.
Saul,
Straight, straight out the book, like
Herod, yeah.
right. Nebuchadnezzar, right? He's
Nebuchadnezzar,
one. Um, so
Paul.
yep, yeah. So we have to kind of look at it from the standpoint that if God was dead set against him getting elected, he wouldn't have got elected, right?
Okay, then. Okay,
And
that's yeah.
that, but that also isn't a sanction for him. It could be punishment or judgment for us. I don't know. We would have to ask God, right? But a lot of times we feel like because somebody wins an election that God is sanctioning the person, when not necessarily. God is sanctioning the rule of that person, but he's not necessarily
Absolutely,
sanctioning that person.
absolutely,
So
absolutely. Totally get it.
uh I think that is very interesting, the question, right? I feel like your question is very much loaded because
Right.
it wasn't thoughts on conservatives that are black or blacks on conservatism.
It wasn't.
You're
Right.
specifically blacks for Trump.
Right.
And I think one of my main issues, and I don't know, one of these days God can give me the platform, is if black people are against Trump for his racist views, for being misogynistic, for trying to undo things that have helped to advance us as a people, then white should be against them too, particularly if you're a Christian. So the question really should be anybody that's for Trump. If you're saved, if you're a professor of Jesus Christ, how can you possibly justify it? And I have no issue if you're going to tell me I'm for conservatism. And if you want to tell me that he's the vehicle for conservatism, then we need to have another conversation.
Right.
Because
Right. Right.
conservatism,
Right.
I think most of us can jive with the truth, the essence, the truth of it, not the politics of it, the truth of it.
Right. Right.
But we,
Because well, let me interject.
yeah, go
Blacks
ahead,
were
go ahead.
conservative Republicans from the onset.
Right.
That whole idea and the precepts that are rooted that's rooted in
Yep.
were us.
Yep.
And I'm
Yeah.
only saying blacks because that was in your thing. Like you said, you didn't say conservative, you didn't say you know what I mean. You were there, so it made it layered.
Right.
And if you're saying that, then we were the first to introduce Republican, being a Republican and conservative.
Yep.
The
Exactly.
nuclear family, all of that was us.
That's us. Exactly.
Yeah, the wholesomeness of it, yes.
Yep.
Okay, I just had
Yep.
to interject that.
No,
That's
I'm glad
very
you did
important.
because that's I mean that's really where the foundation of this really is and where it lies. And it's very difficult for you to be an African American in my mind who loves him or herself and support a guy who is very much focused on undoing things that help you advance.
Yeah,
And the Martin Luther King quote that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere should be part of the mantra again for all of us. And if I see him um, trying to disenfranchise marginalized people, even if I'm not marginalized, I should be against that
right.
wholeheartedly. And so, um, again, very much layered and kind of, my soapbox is like, yo, the
Right.
division, it shouldn't be a division, right?
Hmm.
If he's, it's like saying thoughts on poor people for Trump,
Mm.
right? Talk to the farmers now. Are the farmers now for Trump? Now that he snatched up all their stuff and sent, you see what I'm saying? And so, if I'm a supporter of the American farming industry because that's how we eat and it makes our lives better, I can't be for him either. I'm not a farmer. What Trump did to the farmers doesn't affect my life at all. But the way that he affects them, I can't stand with that and stand for that. And I think that our counterparts, Hispanics, whites, whoever, should say, nah, that stuff that he's doing, that's not right.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for us to be for him.
Correct. Correct. You either assets or liabilities. I had that conversation earlier today too. You
Yep.
either asset with the married couple. You're only an asset or liability. It's only two places. Even the book, the Lord says to be either hot or cold, not
Yeah.
lukewarm. And
Yep.
so you're on or off. And
Right.
again, like asset or liability.
Yep.
And you should consider within yourself, in the spirit of meekness, considering yourself, as the Bible says, what you are contributing or detracting
Yep.
from the situation. Don't, not me do it, not pastor do it, not you do it first. I always say I check myself so you won't have to, right?
Yep.
Check
Yep.
yourself so nobody else won't have to. Aunt Ruth says it's our fault we wanted a Saul to lead us. Wow,
Yeah.
that's powerful.
Yeah.
Hello, Brownsville. I see you. Deaconess Karen Scott, we see you. Huh, man, a little tired. How was your day? Did you celebrate, a calendar day recently, a holiday? I
Thanks.
don't really get down with it personally, but
Thanksgiving.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
we all, family gathered, went to my mother's house. She cooked, I cooked, my brother cooked. Um, I Thanksgiving is one of those that you I know exactly. Well, I'm saying I know exactly, but historically we kind of have a good idea of what was told to us and the
Hmm.
reality of it. And so I've always kind of tried to uh, just separate myself from that and really this is a season that I really love. Um,
Hmm.
I really love the season of giving thanks and just kind of intentionally being thankful. And I'm probably a little biased. My wife and I got married the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, kind of on purpose. That's always been like a throughout our relationship has always been like I guess a good a good day for us, a special time. And when we got married, the day that we got married, my mother was in a crazy accident. She got hit in the back by a
Right.
truck,
Hmm.
and I was hours late to my wedding because I was running back and forth trying to get all that stuff straight, but also at emergency room trying to make sure she was good and all that kind of stuff. And maybe uh, less than a week before that, my dad had just got out of the hospital. Like
Hmm.
it was to the point where we didn't even know if he was going to be able to perform the ceremony, and he was still very weak, but pressed his way or whatever. So for me, I have a lot of other stuff that
Right.
is for me, and then
I remember all of that too.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
there. It was, yeah, it was
yeah,
very
yeah. I mean, it was
interesting.
very, it was a very tight moment.
Yes, it was.
Like even with my dad, just we just didn't know
Yeah.
um, that he was going to be able to do the ceremony,
Right.
which was a blessing. Even though very weak, he did it. But then when my mom had got to that accident, it was like, man, this is a crazy situation. But my son Joseph, I believe, is the one who gets credit for this. Years ago, basically, kind of started the tradition where before we eat, we just kind of join hands as a family. Everybody goes around the room and says something they're thankful for. And to me, that's my favorite part. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like it's just hearing what people are thankful for, and really just kind of the intention and of um, you know being able to have time with family and friends and loved ones and stuff and all the other stuff that goes along with it. So it's always been a special time. Not
Right.
always, but I guess in recent memories become more special to me. Um,
Right. I like that. I
yeah,
like the things you're saying. I I would I had a conversation with my dad um, about this very thing, and I said because there were very few people. I went to my aunt's house in Richmond. There were very few people there in relation to how it usually is.
right, right,
Packed out, few people, and um, some people acknowledged it. Wow, a lot of people didn't come, and I was just watching, observing, and when we got back to the house, to my parents' house, I said, "What is the probability that the week before or the week after this so-called holiday, that the same intention is putting into everyone coming together
yep,
and doing the same exact thing?
right,
What is the probability of that?
right,
And why not do it? If the reason you're doing it is to give thanks, which we should be doing continually,
right,
and others, for whatever their systems of belief are, whatever they're doing, they have this tradition in their heart to do it how they want to do it.
right,
And if we're going to be intentional about this family moment, do it a different time.
right, right,
Just like Christmas,
right,
just like any time,
right,
because we're saying that the feeling that we're getting is a novel. It warms our heart, which is great. We should
right,
have that,
right,
but not it is not married to this time,
right. Yep.
and no one really uh, would communicate about or address it. I mean, I don't talk about it a lot. I know that you would definitely offer in some some commentary about it, but in general, because people will be upset for you not doing what they want done,
Right,
which on the flip side of the same coin means that you're not respecting my position.
right. Exactly. Yep.
It's just like COVID. You know what I mean? You
Right,
you got a shot. I didn't. You wearing a mask. I don't want to wear a mask. So if I'm respecting what you're doing, just like
right,
we have these talks about transgenderism and all these things, I'm accepting that you're doing it.
right.
But why are you not accepting that I'm not?
Exactly. Yep.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah.
No, I think it's a fantastic point. And thank you, Karen, and thank you, Aunt Ruth. The food was delicious. It's a
Hmm.
fantastic point.
And we see
And
you,
one,
Clem the Gym, say, hey,
oh, yep.
yeah.
Hey, Clem. One that, uh, in a kind of a different context, has been expressed, in our family. I think most people know, my dad lost their oldest sister. One of the queens of the family lived a fantastic life, 93 years old, traveled all over the world, had a beautiful life. But at the end of the day, that's still their sister. And she passed away on my father's birthday. And her a funeral was in Texas because that's where she lived with her son. But
Right.
they flew back here so that they could give her a proper burial, bury her with her husband. And of
Hmm.
course, um, family showed up. You know what I'm saying? Family members that I hadn't seen in years. You know, my cousins that I look up to. You know, I got my dad. My dad's oldest brother, which I just found out, my dad's oldest brother, if he was still alive, would be 100 years old.
Wow.
So you know we're on the tail end of
Right.
the
Right.
family, and so they have
Right.
all of this wealth of knowledge about my aunts, my granddad, my actual that we don't have my
Hmm.
siblings and the ones that are
Right.
younger than us. So when we get together, it's just always like we're kind of in awe of them, and they
Hmm.
seem to be similarly to us because it's like we didn't really know y'all, but we kind of do,
Right.
right? And of
Right.
course, the prevailing theme was we got to figure out a way to do this when it's not a funeral.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Because
Yep.
the
Yep.
family piece, the thankfulness piece, the togetherness piece is too important for it to be regulated to this particular event. And
Yeah.
if it's really important to us, then we have to figure out a way to craft out time to say, nah, we need to figure it out. We got to figure it out. Because
Yep.
if somebody dies, we figure it out. But
Yes.
that doesn't have to be it's nothing wrong with making the most of it, right? And making it a reason. But if this is as important to us as we say it is, we got to figure it out.
Yes.
And I think that's
Yes.
kind
I
of
agree with it
thing.
100%. What
Yep.
that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
And allow people the space to not get in your groove. It's
Yeah.
yours.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have
Yep.
some family members who I didn't go to their funerals. I
Right.
didn't feel like it. I don't feel bad about it. I
Sure.
had some that I did go.
Right.
I, I didn't put my thoughts and my positioning. I didn't put that on nobody else. So don't do that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And show the love. Show the love. We
Right.
get kind of locked in of our thing and our perspective and how it should be, and then we don't allow the space for anyone else
Yep.
to to exist in that. And that's unfortunately uh, a hard thing. Like I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? I
Yep.
want to be able to. I want to be. I used to tell Erica, like, let's make some gifts. I think I was telling you this before. On Christmas, Jesus the only one not getting a gift, but everybody getting something. Man, forget that joint.
Yep. Yep.
Why? Why are we doing this?
Yep. Yep.
And you were only born once. But we had this thing. The capitalism, the capitalistic virus that is just it's so parasitic. But the way it got us in a chokehold, man.
Yep.
And yeah, you were born on one day to be loved forever. So let's love you consistently all the time.
Yep. Yep. I
But
agree.
hey,
Totally
what do
agree.
I know? What do I know? It's not the popular opinion, but it's mine.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
you might not make it to the next birthday.
You just
God
right.
forbid.
Exactly.
So do it because you know what I mean.
Yep.
And you still can celebrate it if that's your thing. Celebrate that day. Go all out. Do
Yeah.
you?
Exactly.
But to make it put all your eggs in the one basket is like, yeah, no.
Right. Nah, I totally agree.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Man, it's already 7:40, brother. 7:39.
We been rolling,
Um,
man.
I wanna man, I can say a little bit of this man. Well, all right. So let me say a couple of these janks and then we're gonna get off, I guess. So last week I was talking about um um trust, status correction, a few things. And um, I want to follow up with a couple of things if that's all right before we get
Absolutely.
off. So, in the chat, make sure you get your pen and paper out so we can try to give you all some of this good. This is goodness. All right. So um, you want to make sure that you make a trust, like we were talking about, a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust. You want to
Okay.
make one for yourself. You can make one. You can make one for your family as a whole. But I always recommend doing individual. Make your individual trust, and then take all those and put them under an kind of an umbrella. Another big one, and put your jobs in there. Put your jobs, your work, your business. Put your business in there. Get an LLC. Put that in there. And we should not be connected to this system with our social security number. That's the trick of the whole matter. One of the main tricks of it, to not be connected with your social security number. So when you get this trust, and then you do an SS4, which is to get an EIN. You do an SS4, get your EIN, and then do your business, get a bank account with that, and you do your business with the EIN from the trust, from your trust, right? There are ways to do it where you will be, uh, where the trust can be tax exempt. Um, Man, there's so many things you can do. So I was talking to Pastor about, he was saying he's going to redo Project Judah,
Yep.
right? Like kind of
Yep.
revitalize that. So Project Judah, for example, since we have this a tangible template right here, tangible thing, item, you will go and make a, to irs.gov and make a 508c1a, right? Not a 501c3, which is most churches,
Right.
but you're going to be an FBO, which is, or FBA, faith based organization or faith based association. And for example, it would be Project Judah Ministries, right?
Hmm.
And um, and then you would get the EIN. You make the mission statement. I know you already have a lot of these things, but you make the mission statement,
Right.
and
Find my
you
pen.
can identify some members or trustees of it, right? And then you would be the beneficiary of it, right? And then you do all your business with this company, with this trust. But you have your like Williams way. What the thing y'all were doing, that would be a company. Like if Ashley's doing hair, then that's a LLC that's
Right.
under the trust. Or your music company, your being a studio musician, your books, your writing, as an author, put these under that umbrella.
Right.
Right? Take your life insurance, put it in the trust. That will help fund the trust. And then, and we'll get into this down the road, but you'll be able to operate and move into private banking. Okay. You want to be able to move private. And again, this is in regards to Trump and talking about, your president. These are the kind of moves that level of wealth is doing that. I'll say it before that, Elon Musk is a multi-billionaire. He's set to be the first trillionaire,
Billionaire.
actually,
Right. Yeah. It's
the
crazy.
first one in existence, the trillionaire. Um, and but if you roll up on him in the street and say, "Let me hold $20," he don't have it.
Right. Right.
And so because they're playing at a different level, and they have stocks and
Right.
bonds and securities, and we're just learning how to do those things.
Right.
All right. So you have to get uh, documents, and we're gonna get all your documents is what we have to get to make it so that people will um, recognize you um, as separate. So we want to record these things at the county. Hold on, let me see. Go back. We're going to have exhibits, right? So you're going to create these affidavits, and you call them exhibits. Exhibit A is your jurisdiction challenge affidavit. I have my book. Jurisdiction. challenge affidavit. That's gonna be your first one. And I'm putting together some things so that I can be able to show people how to um,
Right.
do it and be an example of doing it, which is I think very important.
Right.
Um, and when we challenge this jurisdiction, uh, it's your formal affidavit to challenge the court's jurisdiction. This is like if you're going to get in a court case,
Right.
which is very, people get in those all the time. So we want to be able to um, we want to make an affidavit of jurisdiction.
Um, did you lose me? Am I still here?
Yeah, can I hear you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. So Exhibit A is your formal affidavit to challenge the court's jurisdiction. It states that you do not consent to statutory or territorial jurisdiction and that you are appearing only as the living man or woman under common law. This affidavit rebuts any legal presumptions that you are a U.S. citizen, corporate fiction, or a debtor. Once filed with the clerk and served properly, this document puts the court on legal notice. It must be signed, autographed, notarized, and include a certificate of service to be valid. If not rebutted um, within the set timeline, it becomes law and truth in commerce, which is very, very important. That if you can say, if we make, a declaration, an affidavit about whatever, and we go into the court clerk, the county clerk, and we go and index it. We have it recorded there, and we have it indexed, and meaning they record it in there. They give you a paper back, and you can see it almost like a receipt, and it's indexed in their system. Then, if it's not rebutted in a certain amount of time, then it turns into law. Who knew?
Yeah,
Who knew?
I didn't.
Right? So these are the things that we need to be able to take control of and understand and um and to comprehend. That's the word we should use. Comprehend. All right. And it blocks the court from claiming jurisdiction because it becomes law because you
Right.
filed it, you put it in their system. But the thing is, you didn't ask permission. You did it. You told them this how it's going to go. This I'm a living man, living woman, breathing. I'm standing right here. I'm going to be conducting my own. I'm not in your jurisdiction. I don't consent to any being in your jurisdiction. And yeah, and you file it. All right. Um, which is very, very important, as you can imagine, um, for when you are working on your status change. I have um, a few different papers. I have an affirmation of living man standing um, here, my joint. Okay, yeah, I need to get it notarized, but affirmation of living man standing. Um, yeah, I've been doing a lot of work. And trying to get the funds together, you got to file them, and it costs, right?
Sure.
Lord have mercy. So, it can cost $35 for one paper, or it can cost $35 for 10 papers. So
Right.
why not carry your 10 papers, or your 12 papers, or your 15 papers, rather than the one?
More. Right.
And that's one of the things I've been working on doing, and making sure the money don't stay funny. All right. So your first move, phase one, is to notarize uh, and record your documents at the county recorder's office. In Norfolk, we have it's at the circuit court. It's a court clerk. So you have to see what that is in your individual cities, if they even have a county recorder. Some
Right.
of this, the court clerk, same thing. And uh, you don't want to do it with the Secretary of State or the Attorney General. It literally has to be the county recorder or the circuit court, the court clerk.
Right.
This recording does three critical things. It establishes your standing as trust executor. It declares your status as a private living being, and it publicly records your irrevocable trust into land jurisdiction. All right. Once you recorded that, you have a lawful administrative record that becomes public notice. And this step is required before sending notices to the state and the federal agency. This is the foundation of it. To take care of home, and then you can go out. Right.
Right.
That's basically it. And always get a certified copy stamped by the clerk for your own personal records.
Right.
That's what you always want to get. And for that, that proves, that the whole thing actually took place. You know what I'm saying? So that's important. Um, phase two, and this is state and federal. Again, this is for um, uh, status correction. After you record at the county, you can now notify all the agencies and departments that attempt to act upon your estate. You want to send your notarized documents in UCC1 if that's what you use to the Secretary of State for a state interest claim. You want to send it to the sheriff's office to assert private status and remove custody presumption. So you're not under they can't put you in custody. You're not under their jurisdiction. You want to send it to the Social Security Administration for administrative correction of status so they can have it on their records. You need to send it to the Internal Revenue Service. I said this before. I was telling you guys that the Internal Revenue Service and the IRS are two different companies. They are two different companies with two different addresses and two different company logos. So be aware of that. The IRS and the Internal Revenue Service are not the same company. It's very interesting. Always remember that and conduct yourselves, govern yourselves accordingly, like you say at church. All right. But we want to send it to the Internal Revenue Service um, so that they have executor and fiduciary notification. And then the U.S. Department of State for international administrative record. And then any department that is claiming authority over your estate, anybody that's claiming it. All right. And you want to send it to them. And this process right here is not asking for permission. I repeat, we're not asking for permission. It is a lawful presentment of facts. That is what we're doing, presenting it. You make presentments because you have the power to do that. The Most High gave it to you. It's yours. If we're not moving in fear, fear is not of God, right?
Right.
So we're not moving in that. We're moving in the strength and confidence of the Most High. Once your documents are recorded, you can now notify all agencies and department, right? And then you send your notarized documents. Um, if you do all of this, they have 30 days to rebut it. 30 days. If they remain silent, then your record stands as law. How
Mm.
about that?
Oh,
If they don't rebut it, your record stands as law. And if they do rebut it, then you can prove that you're the living man. You're actually living, breathing,
right.
right?
Right.
So it's really, yeah. Um, so I have um exhibits A through H that you want to be able to submit um for this status and for court cases. Like you can pretty much get out of any court case, right? And this is not legal advice, but you should go and consult and do your own research. I've been telling
Right.
people don't believe nothing I say. uh, Prove what you know. And so that means you learn it yourself. Just like I was saying about is the earth flat or a ball? I don't know what it is. I just know more and more of what it ain't. And
Right.
so don't work to prove uh, me wrong. Work to prove yourself right.
Right.
You know? So exhibits A through H, and then we can wrap it up, I guess. But I got so much information. But
Yeah, man.
um,
Doing some.
Exhibit A is a declaration of irrevocable trust. All these things must be notarized. Not all, most of them. Declaration of irrevocable trust that must be notarized. Exhibit B, affidavit of status that must be notarized. Exhibit C, revocation of contracts, and that's not required to be notarized. Exhibit D, Private power of attorney must be notarized. Exhibit E, fiduciary notice to IRS and U.S. Treasury, not required to be notarized. Exhibit F, hold harmless and indemnity agreement, must be notarized. Exhibit G, notice of private jurisdiction, not required to be notarized. And Exhibit H, security agreement, must be notarized.
Yep.
You label and assemble this in this exact order when submitting and recording. Each document declares jurisdiction, trust structure, and executor control. This is from a class that I took, and it was so insightful. And uh, you can look up online Space Vibes University, Space Vibes with some Z's in there, Space Vibes with Z, Vibes, two Z's, University. And Kamos is the guy. So, and definitely follow him, young guy, young black guy with locks and glasses and so very knowledgeable. So, yeah, want to get correct information, a lot of scammers out there. And you want to always, 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 always do your due diligence. Always, always, always. All right. Do your own due diligence. All right.
Right. Right.
Um, this is the last thing. This is a non-UCC process. You're not operating in commercial capacity, but under divine and common law authority. That's what's the most attractive to me, Joe.
Right.
Just working under divine and common law authority. The non-UCC addendum serves only as notice, not as a commercial lien or contract. All right. It secures your estate interest and executor authority by declaring the all caps name as the debtor, identifying yourself as the living man or woman and the secured party, and listing general collateral like your estate, your SSN, your birth certificate as proof of claim. And what you want to do is notarize all the exhibits A through H, submit them in a labeled order, and record them at your county recorder's office. And that is how you do the status correction. And then you want to send administrative notice to federal and state entities. And once recorded and unrebutted, your status becomes a matter of public and administrative record.
Wow.
Mm-mm.
Wow. I mean, man, the information is amazing. I got a text from a faithful listener that says, "This is we need this in a workshop." Uh, you know, so we might have to figure out a way to make that
I'm
happen,
working
man.
on it. Yeah,
You
I'm
know what I'm
working on it.
saying? Charge some money.
I'm working on it. Deaconess Karen Scott said I'm a notary. Uh, she just put that in the chat that she's a notary. And so I said this before. I just want to reiterate that um, a notary has more authority than a judge. I've said this in TNT before. Notary has more authority than a judge. But here's the thing: three notary signatures can overturn a judge's signature. Who knew?
Wow.
Who knew? So should always try to have at least five of them on deck, in my estimation. That way you
Right.
always have three, right?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, put that in your cap.
Wow. Interesting.
All right. There's a way to to there's a way to fill out your passport as well. So you can have be on the do not detain list, 5-star status.
Right.
So there's levels. So you can get 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. So you wanna, really get 5-star. Um, so yeah, I'm working on that for myself as well. Yeah.
Wow. Blown away.
Yeah. So yeah. Um trying to work on this even with discharging debt. It is there's some UCC codes that specifically empower us to do it. And we just need to read more, study more, do our due diligence. And, I'm working to study these things and get a comprehension of them so that I can execute properly.
Right.
And yeah, I'm encouraging other people to do it. So I think we should.
Yeah, man. Yep. We got to work it out.
Yeah, let's
Some-
do it.
Yeah.
If you have a bill and you are paying it, then you acquiesce to what they're presenting you, right?
Hmm.
You have conformed and you acquiesce and saying, okay, you've accepted their offer.
Right.
So one of the things that we need to be strong on and stand on is telling them that's what I'm not doing.
Right.
It's not going to go like that. It's going to go like this. And people have a real fear of it, because
Right.
they a fear of incarceration, fear of reprimand, fear of taking your stuff. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Like, you got this car and they say the repo man coming or something, nah, stand on it. And so
Right.
you have to first have that confidence, which is a biblical precept that we should have already.
Right.
Confidence, knowing, and then execute what you know. Yeah. So all the money, fiat money, is not real legal tender. It's not money. It's not. It doesn't have a value, right?
Right.
It's printed in debt, and
Right.
by law, you can't pay a debt with a debt. That's literally a law.
Right.
So then we've empowered the system ourselves by our acquiescence. So
Hmm. Yes, sir.
and the book explicitly tells us to be in the world, not of it.
Right.
So stand, stand
Stand. That's
strong,
it, dog. Wow.
stand strong, stand strong. All right, that's it for me, Doc.
I,
Time
just
is
for me
well
too.
spent.
Yes, sir. It was excellent, brother.
Yeah,
Excellent.
man.
Yeah. Wow.
We'll talk to you guys. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate you.
Well, man, we
Yeah.
appreciate you, man, sharing that information. And yeah, man, we gotta figure out a way to capitalize on your infamous knowledge.
Oh man, I'm just learning, sir. Learning, and
Right.
I'm willing. That's the thing. The
Right.
Hebrew boys, the three Hebrew boys you referenced earlier, and I made a reference to Stephen and reference these other people. Their willingness to do it, and I'm willing to dive in. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to um, trust. So
Right.
yeah, the Bible is a book on banking, actually. So consider that.
Right.
And I would stand, I definitely feel free enough to say it here. I wouldn't say it in all the circles, but it doesn't make it less the truth because it's so many things. But it is definitely a book on banking,
Right.
lending, borrowing, credit, trust, right? A good name in Proverbs says is rather to be chosen than riches, great rich, silver and gold. So, which this whole system is designed on credit, right? And we just
Right.
don't use it. We don't use it properly. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Amen.
yeah.
There it is. A
All
TNT.
right.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man. I love you guys, and we'll talk soon.
We love y'all, man. We'll
All right.
connect soon. All right.
Yes. Boom.
Boom.
Boom. Boom. Boom. Boom.
Y'all
Boom.
next week.
Yep.